Hey, what's up everybody, this is Justin here. I'm here to make a video about my one confrontation that I had here in Japan, in Ikebukuro in Tokyo a couple years ago. I've been in 2 other street fights here in Japan, in Matsuyama, but that's a whole completely different story for a completely different time because I acted emotionally and I acted stupid. And before I go on with this video, I just want to make the disclaimer telling you that I don't condone street fighting. But I do condone self-defense. But if you find yourself in a situation where you know you can get out of it safely, then get out of it safely. But if you find yourself in a position where you have to defend yourself, then do what you can to defend yourself. Of course, people can get mugged in some places. Of course, last year there was that whole knockout video thing going on social media, on the Drudge Report, and all those other news sites. So yeah, anything can happen. So yes, with my training now, I feel that I can now handle myself in a street confrontation to some extent. Of course, as I said, when you walk away from a street fight, you don't know if this one guy has backup, you don't know if the guy has a knife, and worst case scenario, you don't know if the guy's packing heat. So you gotta be careful. And you just gotta do what you gotta do if worst comes to worst. So yeah, if you live in a dangerous area where you feel unsafe, yeah, take some self-defense lessons. Yeah, it may cost money, but the skills they give you, both mental and physical, they're worth it. And it'll help you save the money you could be spending on eating shit like junk food. But still, yeah, of course, there's Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. That's a very effective martial art where I've used in self-defense situations. There's also Kaiju Kembo, also Casey Fighting Theme Method, Krav Maga, kickboxing. Do what you gotta do. Of course, for young women out there, if you need to, buy a taser, buy a mace. I'm a libertarian. I believe in the right to bear arms. If you find yourself in a situation where you have to shoot your attacker, then resort to that method. I'm not trying to condone you should do any mass shootings, any school shootings, or anything like that, but if you find yourself in a situation where you have to return fire, then if it has to come down to that, then unfortunately it has to come down to that. So yeah, that's it for that. But of course you can learn boxing, kickboxing. With those skills in boxing, you are given a certain kind of mental awareness, like certain kinds of reflexes. You know if a punch is coming, like with that whole knockout game situation. The whole key point is you don't see it coming, and that's the punch that knocks you out, whether it's the ring or whether it's the streets. So yeah, and of course, learning grappling. If you don't want to like punch a guy in the face, like punching him in the face like this, that's stupid. You can break your hand. Even hitting a sandbag with no gloves, barehanded, you can risk breaking your hand. So yeah, grappling, especially in a one-on-one situation, be sure to do so. But if you gotta use your physical, you gotta use some elbows, but still, okay, going on. So yes, what happened in Ikebukuro in Tokyo a couple years ago? So yes, me and my friends were walking out the east exit. If any of you are watching who know that area, once you're out of the east exit, to your right that way, there's a Don Quixote, then there's a Matsumoto drugstore, then there's a, there's a Kobana police box. So yeah, on the left side you have some department stores, electronic stores, some bakeries, and some cell phone stores. And me and my friend, we were walking on that side. And we were going to go get some Shakey's. Yes, the pizza place that Cartman wanted to clone with aborted fetuses. I'll admit that idea has come to my mind a few times. But anyway, yes, we were walking down this way. It was the middle of July, and there was this one guy next to the trees, next to the phone booths, and he was all freaking out. He was yelling at this young woman, and I don't know what it was about. I heard it, but I didn't listen, so I didn't really understand what he was saying. And within arm's length like this, there was this one young man. He was a high school student, probably 15, 16 years old, and he was walking this way, and within his arm's length was that guy freaking out. He was walking in this direction, I was walking in that direction, and when we were just at this length, the guy just pushes this kid for, I don't know, for whatever reason. And then the kid bumps into me, and I catch him like this. I'm like, hey, kid, you okay? And of course, we were talking in Japanese. He's like, daijoubu desu. And he's like, thank you, in English. And then the guy just looks at me and he says, like, hey, mind your own business. Get the fuck out of here. Of course, he said this in Japanese again. And I just said, like, hey, you're freaking out and you just push this kid. That's not cool. And he just gets in my face, kind of giving me this whole, what you going to do about it, punk kind of situation. We're about the same height, both 5'8". I'm 165. The guy was probably 135, 140. And the guy tries to push me like this. And he had skinny arms, skinny legs. I have 18-inch arms and 19-inch calves. So he couldn't, with my size advantage, he really couldn't move me. And just adrenaline acting, I just pushed him back, and I pushed him into a tree. Conceivably, maybe, yes, I could have walked away from that situation, but there were so many people around, it was very hard to escape. Maybe I could have walked out. I really was in no position to run. I had a friend with me. I didn't want to leave her alone. And maybe he could have hurt her, and maybe when I was trying to walk away, maybe he could have sucker punched me while I wasn't looking. But, yeah, so I pushed him back, and he hit his back against a tree like this, and then he gets angry, and then he had his right fist right here, down his hip, and he tries to swing very telegraphically, and seeing it coming, I moved in like this, and I had my shoulder up against his inner hip, and I grabbed his single leg, and then I pushed him up against a tree, and sort of headbutted him up against a stump just to knock some wind out of him so he wouldn't be able to react. And then I would grab his other leg, and I would scoop him face down, and I would take his back, and that was it. I could have grounded and pounded him, I could have submitted him with a chokehold, or I don't want to say submit him, but at least choke him out or break his arm. But as much as I wanted to kick his ass, I just couldn't. So thankfully, my training just really serves some easy and simple purpose. Jiu-jitsu is called the simple art and the gentle art, and that just simply just did it. And I told my friend and I told that young man to go get the police. They weren't too far. And then the police showed up, and I was still on his back. He was just crying like a bitch. And yeah, the remaining people who were willing to take my side of the story and witnesses just told police, like, he was acting crazy. He pushed a kid, then he pushed me, and he tried to take a swing at me, and I acted in self-defense. And that was it. But yeah, street fighting in Japan, it's a very, very serious issue. And of course, you could be in jail for 3 weeks, or you could get deported. But thankfully, I was in a position where I was able to prove that I acted in self-defense, and I was off the hook. So yeah, despite my confrontation, Japan is still a very safe country. But despite that, shit can still happen. For example, recently in Sasebo in Nagasaki, this high school girl, she brutally murdered her classmate. That was really sick, and not too long ago, and also in Nagasaki, I think it was like 5 years ago, shortly before I moved here, some Yakuza boss, he capped the mayor of Nagasaki. So yeah, despite Japan being a safe country, shit can happen, and wherever you go, you just got to take care of yourself. Like I said, awareness is key, and that's the most important thing with self-defense. And that's the best advice I can give you. So thank you for watching, and if you're interested in, for those of you out there, take care of yourself, and if you feel insecure, then I strongly recommend you take self-defense classes, whether armed or unarmed. So that's it for that. Thank you for watching.